Don't matter to MAGA because MAGA lives in an alternate reality. Did you realize, don't you know that MAGA is not fazed? God damn, this traffic is not fazed by reality, man. Listen, I don't like Democrats. I don't like Joe Biden. I recognize some of the good stuff that he did. I'm not ignorant of that, but I still don't like him. However, what I do like, I can't hate everything. I like something. What I do like is reality and truth, right? And what's the reality and truth? The Democrats, or more specifically, Joe Biden, when he was in charge, we recovered faster than any other country. You might think that's a liberal talking point, but I would urge you to go look at the data. Don't look at anybody's analysis. Don't look at what I say, my opinion, whatever. Just do two separate things. You got to be the source. Don't let somebody spoon feed you their opinion and their rhetoric. Look up two things. What are the top 5 economic indicators? Get that list. Put that in a notepad or something. Put that down, right? Then this is how you do independent research, right? You want to filter out people's bias. Don't let somebody pick. They're gonna pick all the stuff that makes their point, make Biden look good or make Biden look bad. You find the source, right? If you're just looking up what are the 5 most important economic indicators, right? Wherever you see that, it's not gonna be. That's gonna be more objective because you're just talking about the economy, right? There's no context in terms of something that might make Biden look bad or good. Like that doesn't fall into the scope of that question. Once you have those metrics, just do a Google search on each one and include in your search, say the metric's name, let's say it's GDP, and then just type in over time, right? Look at it for the period of time that Joe Biden was in office and just see for yourself what it shows. Obviously, there were some bad things happening during when Biden was in charge, regardless of who is responsible. So you're gonna see some bad stuff. But in general, look at how things ended up, right? That being said, what did I observe under Joe Biden? A lot of stock market records. We were told Biden's gonna crash the economy. He's gonna crash the market. That's not what we saw. We saw records, right? Stock market records. Your 401k was looking nice under Joe Biden. Was that because of Joe Biden? I don't know. That's for you to decide, to have your own opinion on. I'm just stating the facts. It's not about Joe Biden did a good job or a bad job. It's just reality, right? Stock market was doing really good. And I know the stock market doing really good, it's not helping people pay their mortgage. Regular people, poor and middle class, lower middle class, that's not helping them to pay their mortgage or their rent. But that's besides the point, right? The stock market breaking records under Joe Biden shows something about what kind of economy we get under Joe Biden. Even if other parts of the economy are not doing well. One second. Oh boy. Even though other parts of the economy might not be doing well, right? It's still showing us Biden, we have good stock market, right? Now, I said Trump is bad for the economy. And what did I say? So before Trump got elected, I was saying Trump is bad for the economy. Why did I say so? I said, number one, it's kind of obvious that we're in a tough time right now. Things are expensive, right? Economy is recovering well, especially considering other countries, but people are still having a hard time, right? And with that being said, Trump clearly didn't have a plan. Every time you ask him about the economy, what are you gonna do? He starts playing his little game and he's like, oh, drill, and whatever. Just saying, generic stuff. He had no real plan. Kamala had some kind of plan. You could argue the plan was ineffective or whatever, but she had some kind of plan. It was a detailed plan and was specifically addressing some of the key problems with the economy, right? Again, you can have an opinion about whether it's good or not, or whether it would have worked or not, but at least she had a plan. It was clear she had a plan. She wrote it down. She had it all on her website, all these things she wanted to do, right? These loan programs and different things. Again, you could disagree with it, right? I don't like Kamala either, right? You can disagree with it. That's not the point. The point is she had some kind of plan. And more importantly, Trump clearly didn't have a plan. So the economy has some serious issues, a lot of good stuff, heading in a good direction. But a key thing in terms of cost of living was looking pretty bad. So in that moment, you need serious leadership. And that's not something that Trump delivers, right? So we see the track record of Donald Trump. He's not a serious guy. He's a reality TV star guy. So he's not going to be able to come up with a strategy for the economy, which is why he can't explain it, because he's got nothing. Well, we can't afford that. We need people in charge who have a plan and are serious, because a lot of people are struggling. So that's number one why I say Trump is bad, right, for the economy. Number two, I talked about Trump is bad in terms of for the stock market because Trump introduces volatility. What are we talking about when we say volatility? Trump is erratic. He's all over the place. We're gonna give tariffs, no tariffs. That's not like what he's doing. Like, this is what he does. So it's not like we needed him to get elected again to see this. He has a track record of being wishy-washy. Says one thing today, says something else tomorrow, right? Outside of the fact that I know your brain, because this is uncomfortable. You might be thinking, well, all politicians do that and blah, 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 blah. No. Trump in particular is a very scatterbrained, wishy-washy type of guy. Behaves almost like how a scam artist would. Now, that could be a coincidence, perhaps. But, I mean, this is how scammers are. Scammers, the story keeps changing because they're trying to deceive you, right? So again, I don't know why he behaves like a scam artist, but this is how they behave. This is not good for the economy, right? Companies and people need confidence in what's happening, where the country's going, right? Even if, think about this, even if you had a very bad impression of Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden sucks. They're all his handouts and it's going to add to inflation. He's killing the dollar. Even if you thought that, right? Trump is still bad for the economy, because here is a difference, right? With Joe Biden, you may not like what he was doing, but you knew what he was doing, right? He was doing things his way, a certain way, and there was a consistency to how he was doing things. No one was sitting there wondering, what's Joe Biden going to do next, right? We kind of knew what to expect from Joe Biden. Donald Trump, on the other hand, very erratic, right? So even if you believe that Joe Biden was bad for the economy, his strategies and tactics didn't work, he still would be better than Trump, because at least we know what to expect. What's the importance of that? Businesses can plan, right? They know what Biden is about, right? So if they don't like what he's doing, if it hurts them in any way, they can strategize around it and adjust, right? Joe Biden's president, this is how he gets down. He wants to do a lot of handout spending and stuff. So here's our plan, how we're going to run our business based on Joe Biden. Trump comes in office. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Even Bartiromo was asking him, like, what's up with they're going to have a recession? Well, this and that, there's going to be some pain. And what? Like, what's up with the tariffs? Like, you said the tariff? No, it's not tariffs. Well, what's up? Well, we could have more tariffs. Oh, so we're gonna be more tariffs? Well, we might not. We may not need the tariffs. We could need that. I mean, this is his 4D chess, right? He's so slick, right? You don't know where and that's his strategy, right? You don't know where he's coming from, so you can't. It's hard to fight him because he might pop out of this hole or pop out of that hole. Problem is that stuff doesn't work for the economy, right? Because again, companies need some kind of consistency. They need some kind of, they need to understand like what to expect. And you don't get that with Donald J. Trump. Very erratic. It's tough to run a business. It's tough to, let's say you're a major corporation and you want to invest, right? I want to invest in some AI stuff, and to do it, I want to open up a new facility, right? And I'm going to hire all these people to do all this AI stuff, right? Are we going to do it in America? Are you really going to do that if Trump is president and you don't know what to expect? 1 minute it's tariffs, next minute it's not tariff. 1 minute he's saying this, next minute he's saying something else. He says a lot of stuff that's kind of like, what does he really talk about? He's so smart. It's like he's like a genius, like Elon Musk. He's like a 4D guy. Problem is, these companies, they're not 4D chess, right? Trump is the genius, right? That's what people believe, right? If Trump is a genius and he's doing some 4D chess moves, the problem with that is the corporations and the people, unless you're MAGA obviously, they just assume Trump he knows what he's doing and positive. But for everybody else, we're just sitting there like, oh, I don't know what's going on, what you doing? That's not good for the market. That's not good for the economy, because companies can't plan. They can't prepare. Like, look what happened with automakers. Automakers had to go begging Trump, like, what are you doing, bro, with these tariffs? We're having trouble selling. Like, listen, under Biden, a lot of these manufacturers were already struggling because of the post-pandemic. The prices went up, then the demand fell, and the prices were still up, and nobody's buying these things. Trucks, basic truck is $80,000. And I've been through it. I went to look for a truck. I thought I could even lease one, and because I'm using it for business, I was like, yeah, I get the tax benefits or whatever. It's so bad that don't make no sense. The payments would have been insane. So it's like I had to buy something used. That's why I ended up buying this. That's the kind of stuff that's going on. So the car market had a great time initially when the prices went up, right? But then they've been struggling, man. Lots are filled with cars they can't sell, right? It's been a bad deal, right? And then, so that's how things were before. Then you introduce Trump. And then Trump adds even worse. He want to play tariff games. So now you're looking at costs going up. You're already having trouble selling trucks. Now Trump coming in with his like tariff. There's tariff, maybe not tariff, right? So the auto manufacturers are like, what the hell are you doing? So they got to go to Trump and like get him. Obviously they were successful getting like, hey, back down with this. What you're talking is some craziness, right? This is volatility, which ironically is very good for certain people, right? If you're a billionaire and you thought Trump was gonna win, this is actually good for you. It's not gonna trickle down to the rest of the people, but it's gonna trickle up to you, right? If you're a billionaire, what you did is you expecting crazy volatility, right? And assuming you're not a trading guy, so you hire an expert who is like, so you have there's these wealth management companies, right? Wealth management companies deal with high net worth individuals, right? So if you're like a billionaire, you would hire these companies and you would have big investments, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars invested, and then they do your portfolios all over the place, right? You would have reduced your exposure to the markets. Basically, you would sell a lot of your stocks, right, and build up a lot of cash, right, in anticipation of Trump getting elected and doing a bunch of wacky stuff and killing the market. and then you're gonna sit on the sidelines waiting until you think it's bottomed out, and then you jump back in. 100 million shares of whatever, 200 million of this, whatever, right? And then you're a billionaire, so you don't care about getting immediate returns, right? You sit on that and wait for Trump to get out of office, right? And then maybe some Democrat gets elected by some miracle and bring back some stability, and therefore better economy, better markets, more market stability. And therein lies your return. Now, you don't have to wait that long, because if it crashes hard enough during Trump's term, even if let's say Trump's term is bad, the entire term is bad, economy's bad, markets are bad, you can still make a ton of money as a billionaire in that bad market. Because what happens is, look what's happening now. You have a crash, right? Another crash. It's like dipping down and down and down and down. It's not going to go down like to zero, right? So at some point in time, even if the market is bad, it's going to hit a bottom, right? And these guys have access to really sophisticated systems that can respond in a fraction of a blink of an eye, literally, right? In the time that it takes for you to blink an eye, they can do thousands of transactions, right? So when you have that kind of power available to you as a billionaire, right? There's hedge funds as well, right? When you have that kind of power available to you, you can, so let's say, like I said, the market could be bad for the entire Trump term. But what happens is, if it keeps going down so fast, it's going to get to the point where through momentum, it's going to go lower than it should, right? Just because of people getting panicked, like, oh my goodness, it's crashing, and they're selling. So it's gonna overshoot. Like, maybe the bottom should be here, but it might maybe the bottom should be here, but it might overshoot down to here because of momentum, right? So you're gonna get a quick snapback. Now keep in mind, Joe Biden might have handed Trump a market that's up here, right? Lots of records, and it was pretty high, historically high, right? And we're way down here, right? But then we overshoot and we go too low, right? Billionaires with those fast systems, when there's a quick snapback, when people realize, like, oh, the market it's actually lower than it should be, right? So people start buying. A lot of these automatic trades start happening. There can be a quick surge, right? And then it stays here. Now remember, Biden left us with a market up here, so it's way low. However, you can make massive profits just in that little dip right here. And then if you sit on a lot of those positions, you can start lowering them over time. But you can sit on those positions as the market starts to recover, maybe after Trump, right? If somebody gets in that's actually competent, then you can get the slow rise over time. But right here, hundreds of millions of dollars of profit could be made right here, even though the market is really, really down. And let's say for 4 years, the market is struggling to recover. It goes up like this, it goes down like that. Remember, Biden had it up here, right? So it's up here. So this is a horrific market. But as you the billionaire, you got that surge, right? So all of this negative activity is irrelevant to you because you're still up. Your net right now, your net is still way high. Like, you're not in the red at all, right? Because you bought in at the right time and you took advantage of that quick surge. What will happen after the quick surge is they would start to sell. That's part of the reason why it would stop here, right? Because they don't want to sit in a market that's kind of funky for like years and years and years. So what they would do is, so let's say they have 500 million shares of something, right? So the market does a quick dip, boom, like that, right? Sell 250 million. Remember, you bought 500 million shares of something here, right? A quick little dip, right? You sell half your position. That basically is reducing your exposure by half. So now you only have 250 million that's exposed to the market in terms of up and down, up and down. But the profits that you get from here to here, right? That could be massive and massively more than any losses that you get from, and you're not really gonna get losses necessarily unless we go into like a 10-year dip or something like that. But again, if the amount of money that you made from that dip is way more than the amount of money that you have in the market, 10 years of dipping, irrelevant. And remember, I'm talking about a billionaire, right? So you have, millions of dollars in all kinds of different assets. You have other types of investments. So, whatever you have left in the market, like, that's the game that you played. You knew that Trump was going to make all this craziness. So you liquidated stuff, so you had a lot of cash. You waited for the dip to the bottom. You jumped in real quick, took some profits from that quick little dip, and then again you take out most of your positions, liquidate that or put it in something else, right? And then whatever is left is irrelevant, right? Because you put in this amount, right? You made this amount, right? And then what did you leave in the market? Maybe this amount. So this amount, you could lose all of that and you're still in the positive, right? So that's the kind of stuff. So billionaires gonna be all right, right? Not that we're worried about billionaires, right? High net worth people gonna be all right. Elon Musk and Trump, you know, their wealth is exploding. But for the rest of the people who relying on 401k, maybe about to retire or whatever, it's gonna be a tough run. And listen, I ain't no billionaire, not even close. And I also did a similar version to what I just described, right? I took out a significant portion of money that I had in my 401k. So I don't have the full exposure, right? I am outside of a lot of what's happening, so I have limited exposure. People who believed in Trump and thought Trump was gonna whatever, and they're sitting there fully exposed. They have a lot of money invested in stocks or whatever it is, or their 401k. And for them, it's a big deal because they don't have a lot of money like that. They're hurting right now, right? But here's the thing. MAGA they're not concerned with reality, right? I said that Trump is erratic, which is bad for the economy. It's going to bring instability, right? It's going to be bad for the country. Under Biden, we have stock market records, right? The economy is slowly recovering. We're doing better than other countries. Under Trump, we had an almost immediate response to the negative, where the stock market is doing really, really bad, right? And now us compared to other countries, we have fallen behind. Under Biden, we were leading. Under Trump, we are trailing, right? So it would seem that exactly what I said was going to happen is happening faster than I thought. I thought he would be at least chill in the beginning, you know, for a little bit. But he immediately just put light fuel on everything. But again, MAGA doesn't care about reality. So I said, you know, we're going to see negative impact to the economy, to the market, right? Trump gets elected, exactly that happens. But there's no like, oh, wait a minute, Debate Me channel was telling the truth. Wow. No, it's kind of like, oh, no, that's Trump got a bad hand because of Biden. And, oh, it's 4D chess, and you got to wait and see. It's coming. You don't understand how the economy works. And, you know, just in a matter of time, this and that and that. You're going to see, right? They're going to sit waiting for 4+ years for some kind of a magic thing to happen. And here's the thing. They're going to also feel like it did happen, right? Because like I said, there's going to be it's going to hit the bottom and bounce back. It's nothing to do with Trump, right? But they're going to feel like it is, right? Because when that happens, they're going to get a lot of propaganda from right-wing media because, oh, the economy is bouncing back and Trump stuff is finally working out. Like they're gonna frame things in such a way that it's just crazy, man. It's like every single thing that's happening, totally predictable. And you say this is what's going to happen, and it actually happens. But yet, I don't know, man. It's like, you know, I say to people, don't jump in that pool. The water is below freezing, right? It's like -40 degrees. You're going to die, right? And people are like, no, what are you talking about? You're crazy, right? A couple people jump in, immediately die. Right? And you don't get a response of like, oh shoot, you were right. No, you don't get that, man. They're like, no, what happened is they didn't jump in right and the guy slipped and he hit his head. It's got nothing to do with the ice and you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. Or actually what happened was the water was fine before, but when they jump in, it just so happened that it froze at that moment, but it's good now. And more people jump in and they die right away. And you're like, see, I told you. And like, no. And it's like a child, man. That's why I say like the MAGA movement is a movement of children, bro. They don't care about facts. They don't care about reality. I could have laid out exactly what was going to happen under Trump to the hour and second, right? I could have said day one, this is gonna happen, and then at the end of the first 2 weeks, the market's gonna be here, and almost like I'm a time traveler. Would have no impact. No impact, right? They would say conspiracy theory. The only way I could know this stuff is because obviously somehow it's a Democrat, even though I'm not a Democrat, never been. Somehow it's a Democrat conspiracy that they're rigging the markets against Trump. They're trying to stop Trump. It's the deep state, even though supposedly Trump got rid of the deep state already, right? It wouldn't matter, right? We could be a year into Trump and every single thing I predicted, right? I could predict it down to the second. MAGA would just look at me and just be like, well, I don't know, right? No, 4D chess, 4D chess. Oh, you're gonna make America great again. You just gotta be patient. You gotta wait and see. Oh, you just gotta look at you. I don't hear you. I don't hear anything. Whatever. Trump's gonna fix everything. Harlan Jackson. Harlan says the markets prefer stability. Yes, they do, except options, not just options, also high frequency traders. So like I mentioned before, there are people, but these are high end. This is not retail people. They're high end, like hedge funds, whatever, that this is actually good. And it depends on what side of the market you're in, because there's people who make money from transactions. So they don't care. Market up, market down, irrelevant, right? Every transaction, they get a fraction, right, of that transaction in fees. So all they care about is that people are buying and selling. The only thing that hurts them is that people stop buying and selling. So if the market really crashes and volatility drops like off the shelf and it stays that way for extended period of time, that's where it's bad, because you're not getting your fees. But as long as people are doing stuff, it's up, it's down, it's crashing, it's going back up, the people at the very high end, institutional hedge funds, these guys are this is actually good for them, right? But for the overall economy, though, that's just they can extract wealth from the chaos, right? But that's still a bad market, right? Not for them because of the strategies they're utilizing, but that's a bad market, meaning 401ks are down, meaning the average Joe, who's invested in whatever is having a tough time. Hopefully you're not looking to buy a house. You weren't looking to, do a withdrawal to buy a house, because obviously that's going to be bad for you. So it's a bad market. It's just certain parts of, the investment world, they will actually be doing really good. A lot of people don't realize that. They think that's not like Trump. A lot of people don't know this. They think that, with the stock market, it's all about, the stock market going up, right? Graph go up. Yeah, to a layman or to a retail person, sure. But to the professionals, depending on what part of the business they're in, it's not graph go up. It's graph go up, graph go down, graph go up, graph go down. Every time, all that movement are opportunities, right? Because they have these systems that operate really, really fast. Like I said, thousands of transactions occurring in the blink of an eye, literally. In the time it takes me to go like this, right? Thousands of transactions, right? So market go down, right? So market goes down real quick, right? They can jump in, buy a bunch of stuff, right? And then it jumps up, just a quick short blip back up, sell a whole bunch, extract wealth, right? And over again, market goes up, right? Sell, market goes down, buy. So market goes up, sell, market goes down, right? Buy. Over and over again, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. And the thing is, they're doing it so quickly. Every time it's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit, right? But you're not gonna see that as a retail guy. You got your what you call it, your Robinhood account, right? You ain't gonna see that in your Robinhood account. You ain't gonna see that in your Scotch Trade or whatever whoever's doing the retail stuff, your JP Morgan stuff. You ain't gonna see that. All you're gonna see is down, right? For you, it's just one direction. The problem is these guys operate so fast that even though the general trajectory is down, it's not literally a straight line, right? So as you're going down, there's bumps, right? And every time there's a bump, these guys are extracting money out of the market, right? But for the rest of the world or just normal people, you're only getting the down, right? Because let me tell you, man, I'll tell you how bad it is. You guys as regular people, right, with your app, using an app to trade or using a website, even worse, you are like, what's a great analogy? You're walking miles and miles on foot. That's what you're doing with your app and with your phone. You are walking miles and miles on foot. That's what you're doing. In comparison, right? In comparison, I would say that regular, like let's say brokers. So now we're talking about the professionals. Just regular brokers, right? And investment banks, they are taking the train, but just a regular public transit train, right? So there's stops, right? It's not going super fast. It's not a bullet train, right? But compared to you walking, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's say you're in Manhattan and you're all the way in the south of Manhattan, right? You're all the way at the bottom. It's going to take you probably all day or most of the day to get all the way to the top of Manhattan, right? But if you jump on a train, the train ride is going to be like an hour, right? So that's the difference. So you are walking, taking the whole day just to get uptown. Regular brokers are taking the train. So they take an hour, what takes you 6, 7, 8, right? But the high frequency guys, these hedge funds, I would say bullet train non-stop. Bullet train non-stop. So that hour ride on a train that a regular broker is taking to get to the destination, these hedge funds, right? These guys that are doing this high frequency stuff, bullet train. So instead of an hour to get uptown, I don't know. I mean, I would say maybe a few minutes. So think about that. These guys are taking a few minutes to get uptown, right? That's a small part of the industry. The regular brokers that you know about more, those guys are taking an A train, an express train, just a regular public transit. So they take an hour, right? They take an hour. The high-speed guys take a few minutes, right? And then you guys with your Robinhood, the whole day. That's how far behind you are. So what's the relevance? Even for the professionals, the time that it takes for a price change, so the market's about to go up or down, a price change to go from the exchange to a regular broker's computer so they can see the market is going up to be able to respond to it. The time that it takes for them just to receive that quote, that price change, right? Tesla just dropped by 2%. The time that it takes for that message to go up to a regular broker, in that time, a high frequency broker has already received the price, sent orders down to the market, got all their orders filled already, moved the market as a result of their activity, and then a regular broker, you are just now being aware that, oh, look at Tesla is going down. Think about that. The high frequency guys, they saw the Tesla dip, responded to it orders, got their orders filled, so they're done, right? They already got their money. Not they got their money, but they if it's a dip, they want to buy it and sell later, right? So they already bought and they got the best price. And then a regular broker, after the fact now, he's now like, oh, Tesla just went down. Like, what? Those are the professionals. You guys with your apps, your Robinhood, I told you you're on foot. So what that means is these kinds of markets under Trump, it's going to be brutal for regular people. It's going to be brutal for regular people. But certain people, they're going to have the ride of their life. Anyway, click on the like button, guys. I got 4 viewers and 0 likes. 0 likes. I'm giving out valuable information here. The greatest issue is that the USD is in danger. Why is it so hot? Oh, because it's 66 degrees. God damn. I turned off the heater. Holy moly. The greatest issue is that the US dollar index trade currency. I suspect the new Canadian Prime Minister, a banker, will work towards that end. We'll see. He's talking the talk. Let's see if he walks the walk. Not only that, but the elites will, with enough backing to get into short selling. Yep. Further contributing. And the key thing is, because short selling is one of the most dangerous things, I think short selling for regular stocks is the crypto. Short selling is the crypto of the stock market. I think is a good analogy. In some ways, it's not a direct comparison, but in terms of the risk level, like that is some dangerous stuff. Because here's a key thing you need to understand about short selling. There's no limit on the losses, right? With a stock, it's a regular stock, but a regular buying a stock, just buying a stock normally, your risks are normally limited to the money you put in. If I put $5,000 on Tesla, I buy $5,000 worth of Tesla, right? Worst case scenario, Tesla goes completely bankrupt and I lose $5,000. Plus whatever fees I pay, if I pay fees, depending on what bank account. But just in general, that's my stake, $5,000. That's my risk. Short selling, no limit. You could lose $5,000. So again, for the same $5,000 investment, you could lose $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $100,000, $1 million, $2 million, right? Because you are hurt by the price going up. And there is no cap on how high the price could go. For some reason, Elon rigs the market because he's in government. He got the Doge thing going on. And next thing we see, the price goes up to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. I mean, there's no limit. There's no limit, right? I mean, you could think about, why would it go up to whatever? Sure, but there's nothing actually saying there's a cap, right? But when you just buy a stock or normal way, there is a cap. There is the money that you put in, right? The thing could go to 0, and that just means your account's going to look like the stock price, right? If you put $5,000 down and you had a value of 5,000 and it goes down to 0, your account's going to look like 0. It's going to be probably more than that because again you have fees. But again, in general, I don't want to get too complicated. In general, that's your minimum risk. But with short, there's no limit. So actually, in some ways, it's more dangerous than crypto when you think about it, right? There's no way. Well, I guess you could. I don't know if you can short sell crypto, but crypto in general, I'm just keep it simple. Just buying crypto would be far safer compared to short selling for normal people. Because again, worst case scenario, if you just buy a bunch of crypto, is you just lose everything you put in, right? If it's your life savings, fine. I mean, that's bad, but at least that's just it. But imagine you put your life savings in there, so 50 grand. And at the end of it, instead of gaining money, you now have a $200,000 debt. You spent your whole life trying to save up 50 grand. And instead, you lose all of that. And now you have a debt on something that has no asset towards it. So once you pay off that money that you owe, you're left with nothing. So more than likely, that's probably somebody who was going to go bankrupt. Because I mean, what you going? I don't know. $200,000. I don't think. I think most people. You're done. You're going to need bankruptcy protection at that point. Short sellers make money when their chosen stock drops. The big players can clean up. Right? Trump puts through bigger tax cuts for the wealthy. Yep. You know what it is. Anyway, guys. That is it. Like I said, reality doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how low the stock market goes. I mean, literally, the second that the election results come in, and it says Trump is now the president of the United States. If the very next day the stock market drops by 30% and it continues to drop the entire time, and now we're what are we, a few months into his presidency? I mean, it's a few months, but we're a few months into his presidency. So if the market dropped by 30% the very next day after finding out that he won, and every day during his presidency the market goes down, GDP goes down, right? The unemployment rate is rising. If that happens, that would have almost no impact on MAGA, right? MAGA would tell you it's a Democrat conspiracy. They did something, I mean, clearly, and then you have these highbrow right-wingers in the media, like a Ben Shapiro, who will come up with a smart-sounding explanation so that the MAGA people, because the MAGA people aren't sophisticated enough to come up with this stuff, right? They just say, oh, Trump, yeah, make America great, right? I mean, they're not the most sophisticated people, obviously. MAGA in 2016, that's one thing. If you're MAGA in 2025, you're not that sophisticated, right? So you're not going to come up with an explanation. You're going to still be like, oh, well, you got to be patient or whatever, right? But that's the value of Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro would come up with some kind of thing. Well, Democrats historically, he come up with something that sounds clever. Like he would go back and say, well, some of the best times for the economy and the market have been after major crashes, right? And actually, what's happening is a lot of people were struggling under Biden, and now the markets are just adjusting and they're preparing themselves for the boom that's to come. So initially, you're gonna see, of course, a big dip, right? And it might take some time because that's how it's not magic. It's gonna take time for the bankers to whatever, right? He will come up with something like that and use some fancy words that sounds fancy, and then MAGA will listen to it and be like, oh, okay. So now when you go and you challenge a MAGA person and say, hey man, we said that Trump's bad for the economy, and look what's happening to the economy under Trump. They would be like, well, actually, the economy, this and that, the stock market, and all they do is just repeat whatever Ben Shapiro said, or Steven Crowder, or whatever clown. So I'm telling you, man, reality doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. It doesn't matter how close. Like you could predict if Trump gets elected, this is gonna happen, and it could happen precisely. It could happen precisely the way you predicted it, or maybe even worse. Like you thought, within a month of Trump being elected, the GDP is going to drop by 2%. Guaranteed. Right? And then he gets elected and drops by 3%. Still, MAGA is still like, make it great again. Tell me where I lied, man. Tell me where I lied. And if you don't believe me, talk to your MAGA friends and ask them, watch them. You want to see their brains get stuck? Ask them what it would look like for Trump to be a failure. Like, what would that look like? You had your expectations, right? What would it look like if you were totally wrong and Trump is an absolute disaster, right? Ask them to describe, and notice how long it takes for them to come up with something, right? They might use some delay tactics and be like, what do you mean by whatever? Or be like, whoa, Obama, Biden, whatever, right? And if you keep hammering them, like, no, tell me, what does it look like? What does it look like? And you're going to see them like pause and they might say some like, they probably jump to the easy stuff, right? That's how they think. They're MAGA, right? If MAGA in 2025, they're going to go to the easy thing, right? All of us as humans, our brains operate in a way of self-preservation, right? Someone's presenting you with something that's an uncomfortable reality, your brain is going to come up with something that's more comfortable, right? They say something, hey, I think you're about to get fired, right? And then your brain says, oh, that person probably doesn't know what they're talking about, and blah, 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 right? Something that's more comfortable than accepting that they might actually be true or right. So they're going to come up with something extreme, right? That's going to be the easy thing. It's uncomfortable to think about them being fooled, that they were fooled, and Trump conned them. That's an uncomfortable thing. So they come with something so like, well, if Trump, starts going around and shooting people in the head, or if Trump showed up and like if they say Trump is mentally deranged, if he shows up in the office naked, well, yeah, I would be like, okay, he's great. You know what I mean? There's gotta be something crazy like that, right? If Trump gets in office and he says, and he let's see, something extreme, and he says, we're gonna go to war with Russia tomorrow, right? That's gonna be the easy, like super simplistic way to weasel your way out of an uncomfortable reality, right? Because coming up with something is gonna be challenging because their brain don't operate that way. They're in a cult. Trump is the king and he's a genius. No, I don't think that. I know he's a human and he makes mistakes just like anybody else. It's just that he's better than the alternative, right? They'll try to reason, try to come up with some kind of way to make it make sense. But really, the reality is, it's a cult, right? So because it's a cult, they're gonna struggle with trying to articulate, what failure would look like. So they're gonna either avoid it, they're gonna delay. And then if you really push them, they're going to come with, you're going to bail out and be like, you're just a liberal media, whatever. Or they're going to come with something totally absurd and extreme. Trump shoots a porno in the White House and he live streams it. But that's not the real problem. That's not the real failure. It's who he's in the video with. So in the porno, it's a Democrat. If he does a porno with a conservative or his wife, well, it's his body, and this is America. You're free to do what you want to do. He's a president. If he wants to do porno, what do I care? As long as he's. I'm done, guys. I'm done. And tariffs are more than a regressive tax. They hurt poor among us the most. Ain't that a bitch? Anyway, on that note, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. 16 people watching and only 1 like. You know what that means? I've got 15 members of MAGA watching right now, and they're mad. They're big mad. Anyway, I'm out. Ciao!